Hi, everyone. We are Team 7, and we will start off with introductions. I'm Javier, and a little bit about me. I am working part-time as a server. I enjoy working out and traveling when I'm not at work. A little thing about me is that I like to collect cameras. As you can see in the picture, I have a large collection. And then something I want to do after graduation is open a bar slash cafe in the future. It's going to be a cafe in the morning and then a bar at night. And I will let the next person go.
Hi everyone, my name's Yuri. I'm currently working at Spartan Truck Manufacturing. It's been a company that's been a little bit over 50 years in the business of manufacturing trucks. It is a small company that's growing at a really fast pace. Just 5 years ago, Spartan had about 30 employees. Fast forward today, we do have over 200 employees in three locations, two in here in California and one in Arizona. As the company continues to grow, our business have shifted, and we're no longer just a small hands-on operation. So now we're more focused on product profitability, labor control, and inventory management. This week actually marks my year anniversary with the company. And during this time, we've been implementing Fulcrum, which is an ERP system. I'm their implementation manager. This system helps us connect all areas on the business um, and oversees the progress across multiple phases during this data migration and training, testing, and validating and continuous improvement with the program. The system was actually acquired before I joined, but some part of my role has been troubleshooting, data collecting, and helping teams adapt during this transition. It is, and as is happening all at once, it has been a huge learning experience. And honestly, as someone who never really knew much about trucks, I am so proud of seeing our end product and the incredible truck bodies that we build. What you see here are some of the products of our teams. The teams have worked in the past couple weeks, and I'll pass it on to Justin or Christina.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Valenzuela. I'm the Chief Financial Officer at Delano Joint Union High School District. So just a little bit more about my position there. I'm in charge of the budget for the entire school district. That includes our three comp sites, Delano High, Cesar E. Chavez, and Robert F. Kennedy High School, as well as our continuation high school, Valley High, and our adult education school. So one interesting part about my job that I felt really tied to this chapter in our presentation um, is the fact that I'm part of the negotiating team at the school district. So every year the district must negotiate with the teachers union and the classified employees union to update the collective bargaining agreements that we have between us. The subjects can range from salary to work hours to vacation times and holidays. So a lot goes into the negotiation process. And I'm primarily involved in the financial side of things. So it's my responsibility to really let HR know what salary increases we can afford. So that's a really interesting part about my job, and I felt like it related really closely to this chapter. And I'm in my second year of the MBA program, and I'm looking forward to graduating in May of 2026.
And hello, everybody. My name's Justin. A little bit more about myself. Again, this is my first year in the MBA program. I am a records and scheduling coordinator here at the CSUP campus, but I am in a separate campus called the Extended Education and Global Outreach. Pretty much in my position, I'm the person that does the coding to create your classes. So on the back end, I'm the one that's building your classes so that they show up as they properly do on the MyCSUP site. I also maintain student records, so if there's ever a poll or anything for anything that's been submitted to the campus, I would be the one that does help with that. And I do also help facilitate the transitions for academically disqualified students, whether that be getting in contact with our like sister schools or, in between. I act as an in between for those opportunities for students to be able to take classes if they're academically disqualified or if they're not matriculated to CSUB. And I'll go ahead and pass this on to Maston.
Hey everyone, my name is Maston and I'm on my last year this semester. I'll be graduating. And I used to work at my dad's farm. It was a chicken farm that we had back home. I was the manager there for like 6 months before I come back. And I also used to be a referee at the SRC for soccer, basketball, volleyball, all sort of games. And that's a little bit about me. Thank you.
Today, my group will be talking about Chapter 11 titled Total Rewards and Compensation. This presentation aims to help you get a better insight of the chapter. We can do this by understanding 3 general components of total rewards. We will also be discussing major laws and regulations. Then following that, we will break down what is considered fair compensation. Compare the differences of internal and external equity while examining how competitive compensation affects the market. After this, we are going to look at the case study and what it offers. And now I will let Justin give you some more information on this topic.
Okay, so Chapter 11 is about total rewards. So the combination of compensations received in exchange for work. I'll break down the chapter into these points, which is going to be what is total rewards, the legal basis that rewards must be able to stand on, the philosophies companies use to remain fair, and finally, the general flow of HR in creating pay rates. Next slide, please. So what is total rewards? It is the interchangeable combination of compensation, both financial and non-financial, which can include base pay, bonuses, and comp time. Benefits such as healthcare, vacation, travel, childcare, and the lesser recognized but just as valuable internal compensation that can be tangible or intangible, like rewards, awards, recognition, more responsibility, autonomy, and the like. Things that lead to self-actualization and satisfaction. Next slide, please. Compensation design choices sit on a legal floor and must abide by certain restrictions. These restrictions are in place to protect both the workers and the employers. The Fair Labor Standards Act, or the FLSA, sets minimum wage, restricts child labor, and governs overtime. While equity statutes like Title VII, the Equal Pay Act, and Lilly Ledbetter Pay Act make it illegal to pay people differently based solely on classifications such as age, gender, race, religion, etc. These, along with a long, much more inclusive list of rules, shape what's allowed before the pay strategy is even discussed. Next slide, please. So organizations pick a pay philosophy that they believe will be mutually beneficial and lucrative. Some paths emphasize entitlement or tenure, while others on performance. Perceived fairness and motivation matter a great deal. On motivation, we have the expectancy theory, which says people work harder when they believe their efforts will lead to a level of performance linked to a valued reward, as well as the equity theory of motivation, which focuses on perceived fairness of inputs to rewards when compared to others. Next slide, please. Finalizing the pay structures from an HR standpoint is, or at least should, be a cyclical thing that's reevaluated from time to time. The process is to first set a philosophy between tenure and performance-based compensation, then to performing a job evaluation to determine the job's worth within the company, then referencing and researching equitable pay for jobs in the industry via market pricing and pay surveys. And then we'll go into creating pay structures, which can be considered grades or ranges or broadband. And finally, making individual pay calls. As a safeguard, it's always good practice and a good idea to keep an eye out for pay compression and inversion, where market pay increases faster than current employee pay adjustments and new hires getting paid more than more senior employees, respectively. And I will go ahead and pass this on to the next person.
Thank you for that chapter summary. Well, now that we've covered the basics of total rewards, let's take a look at how these rewards actually motivate employees and align with an organization's goals. So the focus is how HR connects rewards, performance, and strategy, essentially turning pay into purpose. So the total rewards approach isn't just about offering higher salaries or benefits. It's about creating a system that motivates people to perform. It aligns their effort with organizational success. This is where motivation theory comes in, specifically expectancy theory. Expectancy theory says that employees are motivated when they believe three things. One, their effort will lead to good performance. Two, their performance will lead to a reward. And three, that reward is something they actually value. As outlined in our visual on this slide, you can see that employees start with effort. If they trust that their performance will be noticed and rewarded, they'll stay engaged. But if that link is broken, when they feel their hard work won't be recognized, motivation does collapse. So a key part of HR's job is to make sure those connections are clear, consistent, and fair. Now let's look at the second motivation theory that connects directly to compensation fairness. Equity theory says employees are motivated when they feel they're being treated fairly compared to others. People constantly make mental comparisons. They'll look at what they put into their jobs, like time, effort, and skills, and compare it to what they get out of it, like pay, recognition, or benefits. Then they compare their own income or input to outcome ratio with that of their coworkers. So they feel if their ratios are balanced, meaning they're being rewarded fairly for what they contribute, they'll stay motivated and satisfied. But if they feel undervalued or underpaid, it leads to frustration, disengagement, or even turnover. So that's why perceived fairness is just as important as actual pay levels. HR professionals use pay transparency, job evaluations, and market data to help maintain that balance. In other words, it's not just about how much you pay, but whether employees believe that pay is fair compared to the effort they give and what others receive. So now let's talk about how pay philosophies support or weaken motivation. So organizations usually fall somewhere between two pay philosophies, entitlement and performance. In entitlement philosophy, everyone gets a raise just for another year of service, regardless of their results. It's predictable, but doesn't really inspire anything or excellence. So I can say, just from personal reference, I can say that a lot of, if not all, school districts in Kern County fall more into this pay philosophy of entitlement. So, for example, every July 1st, which is the first day of our fiscal year, all of our staff move up one level, or step as we call it, on their salary schedule. It's a yearly pay increase that occurs for everyone as long as you are not maxed out on the steps that you can move. So once you've hit the max in steps for that particular position, you no longer move up in the steps unless there's changes to the salary schedule itself, or you switch to another position that has more steps. In contrast to this, a performance philosophy rewards results quality, speed, innovation, customer satisfaction, and it ties raises or bonuses directly to those outcomes. So this creates accountability, connects compensation to contribution. So a strong compensation philosophy is really only as effective as how it's communicated. When organizations are transparent about how pay decisions are made, especially with the younger generations, it builds trust, engagement, and retention. Employees today want to understand not only how much they're paid, but why they're paid that amount. One of the most strategic parts of total rewards is helping employees see their line of sight, meaning they can clearly see how their daily work connects to measurable outcomes like quality, efficiency, or customer satisfaction. That's why HR sets key performance indicators or KPIs to link effort and reward directly to business success. So in summary, total rewards become strategic when compensation motivates employees to perform in ways that directly support organizational goals. It's not just about money, it's about clarity, fairness, alignment. And when employees can see the link between their effort, their performance, their reward, that's when motivation and productivity really thrive. So next, we'll look at how organizations ensure those rewards remain fair and competitive through equity, market analysis, and pay for performance systems.
Hi, everyone. So let's start with equity, it's always all about fairness and compensation. So HR needs to always be up to date with internal equity. This means that employees doing the same job with the same level of effort are compensated equally within the organization. This always helps people feel value and prevents dissatisfaction and turnover. In short, equity ensures that fairness both inside and outside of the organization. From my own experience at the organization, I did join the company at a transition of acquisition, and I seen how important equity can be. Our turnover is pretty low there. We have team members, I think our oldest team member has been there for 45 years, and that number ranges from 45 years to 10 years. So besides all the people that have joined in the last few years. But something that the company makes sure when acquisition came is that they're compensating older employees accordingly. At the beginning, we had new people that were making more money than the people that have been there longer. And so you have someone that's training someone else at a low and getting paid lower, which brings frustration. Or a lot of the times I observe that older team members will just kind of like gatekeep information, not wanting to teach the newer people. But with acquisition, all of that changed, and we have employees that whenever they're training someone, they're always constantly changing people's pay to make it fair, since they do have different responsibilities. And if they do happen to have same responsibilities, they always make sure that their pay is reflecting the same thing. It is rewarding to see that kind of change, because when people feel that the company values fairness, and it directly improves motivation and teamwork. And then we're going to talk a little bit more in the next slide about external equity. On the other hand, external equity looks outward, comparing pay for similar roles at other companies, maintaining a balance that help us stay competitive while still being fair to our employees. It focuses on our pay. How does it compare in the market? So companies rely on market rates, salary surveys, and compensation data to determine the right pay levels that will help and attract and retain the best talent. So the goal is to maintain a fair and competitive salary structure while balancing all these key points: fairness, motivation, and cost. Essentially, competitiveness ensures that pay reflects the true market value of each position, keeping employees motivated and engaged. From my own experience, I've seen how competitive plays a huge role in retention. As we've grown, we needed to recruit skilled welders, fabricators, and technicians, and those roles in high demand. If our pay wasn't competitive with other manufacturers, we risk losing great people to companies offering even a slightly higher rate. That's where market awareness makes a difference, by adjusting compensation to reflect both skills level and experience. We not only stay competitive, but also show our employees that we value their experience and want them to want to see them grow with us. On the next slide, we'll talk about pay for performance, which means connect compensation directly to results. This approach motivates top performers through bonus, commissions, and merit raises. It is also important to recognize the difference between perks, benefits, and rewards. Perks may attract people, benefits support them, but rewards truly drive the performance and show appreciation from great work. Again, for my own experience, this concept really hits home. On my job, I receive a 25% raise just 6 months after joining the company, purely based on merit. My manager explained that it was a reflection of the value I had brought into the team and that I could expect another increase during an annual review, which is only months away. And this is happening across organization all the time. Like, I'm not just because I'm in management or something. I see this happen across the organization, and I feel like it has changed the culture from what they had before. And of course, money is always important, but what truly stood out in the organization to me is how the company's actions matched their words. It wasn't just a verbal appreciation; it was recognition backed by trust and tangible rewards. That kind of validation makes me feel genuinely fulfilled, motivated, and proud to be part of an organization that truly values performance, which is rewarding great work. And then we'll go ahead for the next person to present.
Now I'm going to do a quick summary for the case we had. The case focuses on the idea of giving private sector employees the same flexibility that public employees have when it comes to overtime. The option to take paid time instead of overtime. Supporters of the working families flexibility act argue that if empowers worker to manage their schedule better, especially for family personal need. However, critics worry that employer might abuse the system by pressuring employees to choose comp time or limiting when they can actually take it. So the key debate here in the case is about finding the right balance between flexibility and worker protection. Next slide, please. So this chapter point out two key ideas to the compensatory time case. The first was fairness and equity. Compensation system should ensure employees that are treated equally instead of inside and outside the organization. The debate over comp time is about giving employees fair choice between pay and time off while maintaining that balance. And second is the strategic compensation and motivation. Rewards should align with company goals and support employees' satisfaction and flexibility. Comp time can motivate workers and improve work-life balance, fitting into a total reward approach that value both pay and personal well-being.
We will now see a video related to our topic, specifically the case study.
Choice between overtime and comp time. That's what lawmakers in D.C. want to give private sector employers. Local Republican Congressman Brian Mast likes the idea, but there is plenty of opposition. And News Channel 5's Alex Hagan joins us now to explain. Alex?
Well, Michael, the bill the House of Representatives passed along party lines. Opponents feared this would take away protections of hardworking Americans. But Republican Brian Mast told me the legislation gives workers flexibility. Working 40+ hours is the norm here at Ironworks Local 420.
Always help support my family. That little bit of overtime.
David Thomas wouldn't be able to make ends meet if he didn't make time and a half.
Also, living here in Florida is pretty high.
That's why he and business manager Sean Mitchell
It's bad policy for this country.
are concerned about a new bill just passed by the House, giving private sector hourly employers the choice between offering overtime and comp pay. Opponents fear employers would have the final say.
Unscrupulous employers that would definitely take advantage of a situation like that.
Some Republicans say it's all about flexibility. Representative Brian Mast voted in support of the legislation Tuesday. His office telling me no employee can ever be forced to take comp time instead of receiving overtime, adding this has been a benefit public sector employees have had for almost 30 years, and this bill just expands it to the private sector. Local Republicans like Marcy Hellshine agree.
I think people have the opportunity to do what works for them, and that's what this is all about, giving people the opportunity to work hard and have a choice.
However, back at Local 402, the fear is cheating workers out of overtime and important money to keep supporting their families.
Assault on the worker.
A similar bill in the Senate is still in committee. Now, President Trump's administration has already come out in support of the legislation. Alex Hagan, WPTV, News Channel 5.
As we saw in the newsreel, many people weren't completely on board with the idea, stating that with no overtime pay, they wouldn't be able to meet ends meet. And the goal here is to give employees the opportunity to have the ability to choose either or, but some people think employers would definitely take advantage of this and having the final say.
Hi, on the next video that we're gonna be playing, our team chose this video because as we all have heard the phrase hard work pays off. What happens when it doesn't? In many companies today, employees are promised growth, recognition, and rewards, yet behind the scenes, pay transparency is missing, and performance recognition often depends on favoritism instead of fairness. This video explores the irony of corporate rewards, how organizations use bonuses or promotions to appear supportive while culture quietly undermines trust, equality, and true motivation. So let's go ahead and play that video.
Team, I have some great news. We reached 10 billion with a B in profits for last quarter, thanks to all of your hard work. So as a reward, we have personalized cookies in the break room. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Veronica, you said they were personalized. So like, do they have does each cookie have the name of an employee that contributed to this $10 billion profit? They're personalized for the company. So they say the company logo. So they're personalized for us, and it says the CEO's name, my name, and our CFO. So they're personalized though. Oh, you have another question? Go ahead. Yeah, I do have another question actually. The only cookies that I saw on the counter in there were the sugar cookies that I brought from Publix yesterday. Is it those same cookies that you're referring to? There's no way it's the same cookie, Veronica, because these have 10 billion written on the back. Well, I did see Samantha writing on the back of what looked like a sugar cookie with a Sharpie. So, well, Sharpie is non-toxic, okay? Since you know everything, why don't you know that? Anyway, go enjoy the cookies. We didn't get the milk because of lactose intolerance. We didn't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. So cookies are there. All right, meeting adjourned. Hi team, we have some great news today. There will be a 5% across the board increase for everyone on the team. There are some additional updates that I need to share with you. Because of this increase, you will likely be now in the next tax bracket up. So that is something that you'll have to look out for. Another thing is that the amount that we pay for your health insurance is going to have to go down a little bit. So you'll be paying an additional 7% on your health insurance. You'll see that pretty soon on your paychecks. And you know how you guys only pay $5 for any lunch that you get at the cafeteria? Because of this increase, we will be having to increase that amount by another 10%. So you'll be paying just a little bit more for your lunch, okay? Any questions? Veronica? When is the increase effective? So your 5% increase is effective in about 90 days. The other increases, as far as your health insurance, the cafeteria, and most likely your tax bracket, those are effective immediately. So we're getting a 5% salary increase, but then everything else is increasing by 17%. Where are we benefiting from this? Because I understand if, everything else increased by 1%, but the increase to the insurance premiums and our lunch is increasing, 3 times the amount of our hourly increase. How does that benefit us? What do you mean? How do you benefit from this? You're getting 5% more per hour. That's a lot of money. You know what? This is sometimes why we don't do these things, because no one is grateful. Everybody's so ungrateful that we fought for 5% for you guys.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your time and attention. Before we officially conclude, we did come up with a few discussion questions to really get the conversation started on the discussion board. So question 1, do pay-for-performance systems truly motivate employees, or do they create unnecessary pressure? Question 2, can intrinsic rewards like recognition and purpose be more powerful motivators than financial incentives? Question 3, how can HR leaders use total rewards to attract and retain top talent in a competitive market? So that wraps up our presentation on Chapter 11, and we look forward to talking with you on the discussion boards. Thank you.